And in fact, I've never had to recruit. Like the agents recruit each other. They introduce me to their friends. They do a deal with someone cool and they're like, they should work here.
Hello and welcome back to the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. I'm your host, Monte Reyment. Today, my guest built something a lot of us are trying to build, an independent brokerage that actually grows. So this is super exciting for me because I'm trying to do the exact same thing right now. Stacie Staub, founder and CEO of West and Main Homes, an independent brokerage operating across multiple states, over 20 years in business. She's also got a podcast called Your Best Friends in Business. Stacie, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about, I always like the background, right? Always the start. Everybody wants the origin story. 20 years in the business. How did it get started?
I actually started in real estate technology. So I was working for a firm that built websites and back-end platforms for large independent brokerages. And their clients started asking for a realtor on staff. We didn't have one. I was getting ready to go on maternity leave, so I thought, well, I can get my license while I, take this baby break. And I kind of never went back. I had been the lead marketer, head of marketing, and just turned to sales and really loved hustling houses. So that's how I got into the business.
I love it. I love it. So, you have an MBA, right? And you got a fast growing company. What did West and Main pick up from that? What did you grow? How did you teach that and really build that?
Well, when I got into real estate, I was working for another independent brokerage, and I've never worked for a franchise actually. So that's just kind of where my heart is. I've always been an entrepreneur. My MBA actually had a focus on entrepreneurism, so I kind of always knew I was going to do my own thing. But I found a wonderful brokerage to hang my license with and ended up staying there for almost 10 years. When they were going to get acquired was when I left along with my co-founder, Madeline Linder, to start West and Main. And mostly because we couldn't find another brokerage where we wanted to work. We really had a few things that we were looking for. We wanted really, great branding. Brand is at our heart. We're both marketers, from at origin. And then we really just wanted a brokerage where we'd be treated with respect, where we could run, our business the way that we wanted, where we could sell real estate in an authentic way. And frankly, not have a board of old white guys telling us what to do. And so we ended up, taking the leap and starting West and Main almost 10 years ago now. So we've grown we have now 10 storefront locations in Colorado. We have also brand partners in Oklahoma and Minnesota, and almost 500 agents, most of them in Colorado. So we just still love it so much.
I love it. I love it. So what's the hardest lesson that you've learned now, balancing the brand you want against the profit you need? And that's something for me that really struggles because I still produce a lot. So for you, what is that hard lesson?
I think lesson one, I always tell people when they ask me, I'm thinking about starting a brokerage. What do I need to think about? What's the most important thing to consider? It's really the business model. We've not changed our business model since day one. We landed on a fairly traditional model. We have a monthly fee and a split, and we've not changed the split since we opened the doors. And that's a retention thing, right? Even though a lot of brokerages are moving to a different split or a different model, they're adding a lot of ancillary fees or, adding title or insurance or something like that. We've really been able to maintain profitability almost from day one because we figured out the model that works in our area. I think that a lot of brokerages, and I've seen this happen in the Denver Metro, independent brokerages that are like, oh, well, we're going to try this and we're going to have these different tiers. And then we're going to take top producers over here. We're going to have this luxury division. And we're just over here we're cool. We're selling houses. Our agents know what to expect from us. They get top level support. They have amazing branding. We have a really, really, really amazing culture that I think definitely sets us apart. And in fact, I've never had to recruit. The agents recruit each other. They, introduce me to their friends. They do a deal with someone cool and they're like, they should work here. And again, we don't have any kind of merger or acquisition on our roadmap. We don't have any inclination or, any tendency, or we're not even considering going under a franchise. And so people know that, the agents know. Some of them have gotten sold 3 or 4 times now. They got sold to, Corcoran, and then they got sold to Compass, or they were at Remax and now they're at Real. And I think like being one of the biggest independents in our market, but also just one of the most solid. Like I'm just over here like ignoring the noise and just keep on delivering on our promise. And the agents stay and they're paying us, what we deserve, and they're making what they deserve.
Yeah, exactly. So, how did you build that culture from original? And, I know toxicity can wreck a growing company really quickly. We had that issue last year with one specific agent, and she wrecked us. I mean, we ended up losing 4 agents because of it. But how did you build that culture? Now we're kind of on the kickback, right? Now we're back into growing, and, we have 8 new agents that came on board since then. And, the ones that stayed obviously have been great. So how important is culture in an independent brokerage? I mean, obviously having top producers is great, but having a culture that feeds off of one another is way more important, in my opinion. So how did you grow that culture?
Yeah, so a couple of things. From the beginning, we knew we wanted to be on the ground. So we have storefronts. I'm sitting in one of them. It's in a boutique kind of area, and people can walk in the door right from the street. We're not like on the 3rd floor of an office building somewhere. We have local artists hanging. We have events happening all the time, education happening all the time. We love getting the agents together. The other piece of that, though, was that we don't have desks. So the agents are bopping in and out, and they're mostly working from home. And what I say is, if they're not, working from home, they should be working in a coffee shop. They should be working somewhere where they might meet someone who's interested in talking to them about real estate, or they should be sitting floor in one of the offices, right? So there's always the opportunity to be front and center and to be around other agents. I think that's really important. The other piece for us is Slack. Slack is our communication hub. It's an app that a lot of tech companies use for communication. We figured out from day one, like as long as we have 100% adoption on Slack, everyone feels like informed and included, and a lot happens in the app as well as in real life. So to your point about those agents that can really bring the culture down, I just get rid of them very fast. I also hire fairly carefully. I, though, do not have like a 10-step hiring process where I have them take a disc analysis and then talk to 2 more managers or anything like that. Either I or our COO interviews every agent. They're interviewing us at the same time, and we decide together if we're a good fit. Most of the time, that works out. It's also because I'm not running Indeed ads or something. We work from attraction. We're a ninja brokerage, and I take that all the way to how I hire agents and how they come to us. Like almost every agent was a personal introduction from either one of our agents, one of our clients, or an affiliate, or they saw us on Instagram. So those are like our 2 main sources of business. And I think that makes a huge difference. And I think too, like if someone gives good interview and it does happen and they turn out to be a dick, like they're out the door. Like you treat my staff with respect, or I do not have 1 more minute for you on my roster. If you lose someone's earnest money or mess up a contract, no thank you. I don't need you to sell houses for me. So that's a part of it as well. And I think that's why we have such a good reputation. Like if I run into another managing broker, they're almost always going to say like, oh my gosh, I just did a deal with one of your agents and they were so professional. Their contract was so tight. The transaction was so smooth. And I can't wait to work with you guys again. And that's like, I love that. Like makes my heart sing.
Yep. I love it. I love it. And I think, and again, I'm 3 years in now of, independent broker type thing. And I have this, everything you're saying right now resonates and hits home, from the fact of having, all of the company get togethers. You guys use Slack. We use a WhatsApp group, very similar type stuff. So it's almost reassuring. I've been doing this a lot longer than I have, that at least I'm on the right track, which is great. So what is, the one thing I see a lot in our area is the bouncing around. You had mentioned the Remax and Real thing before, these big brokerages. And I see a lot of top producers now bouncing from one brokerage to another at these traditional brokerages. Why do you think that happens?
I think there isn't enough focus on retention, to be honest. Those brokerages are so focused on recruiting and they're trying to recruit my agents, they're trying to recruit your agents, and they're not focused on it's way easier to keep an agent that you already have, right? Like if you have an agent that you love working with, take good care of them. We do a lot around that, not only just like recognizing them. Like I know what's going on with every single agent, even though I have more than 400 on my roster. I get a notification on their birthday. I get a notification on their anniversary. They have gifts waiting for them in the office. I reach out with a message. And I also just do like regular check-ins just to see how they're doing. I'll always be on property tour. I'll always pop into their open houses. Like I want them to know that I see them because I do and I care about what's going on in their lives. The door is always open too. Like I literally don't have a door. I don't have an office, but they can always get me on Slack. They know if they come to, whatever office I'm at that day, that they can sit down with me and I'm here for them. And I think that a lot of leadership at other companies is more focused on getting new people in the door. And I think that's a really
Yeah.
backwards way to think.
Yeah, I agree. So what's the one standard an owner has to set so their best people never want to leave?
Yeah, I think part of it is making sure that you uphold the high standards for your roster. So I have two rules for who I'll hire. You have to be nice and take good care of your clients. Like that's like base, right? Like if you're not both those things, I don't want you here because you're not going to be fun for the other agents to work with. They're not going to be proud to have you as their colleague. They're going to hear bad things about you from other agents about how you handled your deal. Like I don't want any of that. And then no bros or divas. And that was one that came out of necessity. Like in the beginning, kind of where you're at, right? There's this like, oh, I got to hire them because they sell a lot of houses. Like I need these producers because I need more signs in yards and I need, the production and then other agents will want to work here because they work here. But if they're not nice and if they walk into the office like they're better than everyone else and they're not willing to share their success and their secrets and like really have like this spirit of collaboration, they're not a good fit for me. I'm not going to be the leader that they need and they're not going to be a good fit in the brokerage. So I think that we have a reputation now in town of being that place where like if you're just like a nice person that knows how to sell real estate or you're brand new and want to learn from the best, like this is where you want to be. And to that end, like I think people also self-select out when they reach out. Like I have a very specific process. If they're like, I need to meet you in secret, like because I can't have anyone seeing that I might be making a move, like that's probably not going to happen. Like you're going to come into the office and we're going to sit down in the middle of the room and we're going to talk about what it's like to work at Weston, Maine. If that's not going to work for you, then neither is that anything else. So it kind of like doesn't waste anyone's time either.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody who runs a small team or a brokerage and just lost their best agent, to a bigger shop, what did they probably get wrong months ago? I'm sure it wasn't something that just happened overnight. Where did they lose that agent?
Probably a lack of communication, right? And like probably not understanding what's going on with them. And it can happen. Like I think that there are agents that I don't see until they need legal. And even though I reach out to them and say like, hey, happy birthday, or I just saw you had your highest sale, congratulations, or like, I heard you just hit your goal number, like that's amazing. Or like, hey, I heard that you're having a rough time. Like I can see your numbers and like what's going on with you. And like not from like a pressure kind of way, but just like, how can I support you? Like, or I heard your dog died, or I heard your mom's sick. And like, how can we be here for you? And that just goes all the way.
Yep. Now you've seen some really good agents come in. You've seen some bad ones. This is the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast, right? So what are the daily habits that separate the top producers from the bottom?
So we're a ninja company. So we teach a lot the ninja philosophies, the daily 9, staying in flow with your clients, the activities that will make you money if you do them. Are you writing handwritten cards? Are you calling your clients regularly? Are you, making sure that any change that's going on in their life? a lot of that is on socials now, especially younger agents. Like they know when their friends are having a baby or making a move or got a new job or had a parent die, those kind of things. And those are the times when we need to be there for people. So that's one thing. Agents that suck do not do that. They're also not willing to do the work. So if an agent reaches out to me and they're like, hey, Stacie, like, I'm just really struggling this year. Like, can I come in and talk to you about my business? I'm like, sure. To prepare for that meeting, you need to, you need to send me in advance how many open houses you've worked this year, how many floor shifts you've worked, how many CMAs you've sent out. Send me your list of cards that you sent this year. And they're kind of like, I'll get back to you. Like they do not want to have that meeting with me because I'm going to call them out on the activities they aren't doing. And usually that's the turnaround, right? And then they'll hit
Yep.
me up, in a couple months and be like, okay, just so you know, I don't need to meet with you. I did 6 open houses last month and now I have 3 new buyers. Like, cool, it works. Like this is the work of real estate. So I
Yeah.
think like that's the agents that don't suck at it are doing that job.
Yeah, I love it. So where do motivated agents self-sabotage then? Because, you have people that come in, and I've seen this happen before, is you have an agent come in, they crush it for a few months, they hit their goals, and then they just stop working. And I think that's a form of self-sabotage. But what are some other things that you're seeing out there too?
Yeah, that's the consistency game, right? So I think that a lot of agents do that. They fill their pipeline, they work through that, pipeline, and then the pipeline's empty again. The most successful agents that I have are selling a ton of houses, but they're still working floor. And floor might not be for them a place where they're expecting to have people walk in the door and become new clients. Floor is 4 hours where they're sitting and working in their business on that nurturing, right? They're getting out their handwritten cards. They're sending, those emails like, hey, I know that your home anniversary is coming up, blah, blah, blah. All those things that they should be doing. And if they're get too entrenched in their business and they don't start to delegate some of that stuff, that's when that roller coaster business happens. And we work really hard to train people out of that. Some people thrive in that stress. Like they really love having 8 deals under contract and then nothing. And then they go on vacation because they made some extra money and then they come back and they're like, where's the
Yep.
business? And
Yep.
that works for them. It's okay. But it's a way less stressful for everyone if you just keep your habits going
Yeah.
consistently.
Yeah. Now I noticed too, like a lot of it is time wasting, right? Like a lot of
Mhm.
people look busy and they try to be busy, but they're actually, I think of it like running on a treadmill, right? Like they're doing the work, they're just not going anywhere.
Yeah, you don't need to build your own website. We give you a website, use that website. That's all you need. You do not need to go create your own branding. Weston Main is
Right.
your brand. Use it like it's yours. Own it, show up for it, and we give you everything you need. You do not need to be going out and building your own listing and buyer presentations or signing up for a new CRM every 6 months. Like those are the time sucks that I watch the biggest producers fall for, honestly, because someone called them and told them that they needed this thing that's going to sell real estate for them. And they're like, that would be nice. And so they start shelling out 99 bucks a month or $600 every 6 months, whatever it is. And it ends up being something they don't need or use. That's the biggest one. I think the other one is spending energy in places that aren't going to bring you business. And sometimes for an agent, that's like a BNI group, or it's a networking thing that they've committed to, or it's a volunteer thing that really isn't pleasing them. It's not giving them back anything in their life. It's like a box they're trying to check, but they're forcing it. And
Hmm.
so when I sit down with agents, we do business planning a couple times a year. I ask them to like map out like a month and like really document how they're spending parts of each day and then look at their source of business and like, is that aligning? And sometimes it's not and something has to give. So that's another one that they fall for.
Yeah, for sure. Now, past the hype, I mean, you talk about, the simplicity of how you guys have made it, where you just use the brand, use it, use the website, use the brand. You don't need to change too much. You have a system that works in place. So what tech do success agents actually use to make money now?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have some sort of CRM type system, right? That might be a spreadsheet. It might be the CRM your brokerage provides. It might be a different type of CRM, but the best CRM is the one that you'll actually use. Like I've talked big producers off of CRM ledges, like they committed to top producer or Salesforce or one of these like more expensive products that actually weren't built for real estate, and what they actually needed was a Google sheet that they could just go through and check, yes, send their birthday card, yes, send their anniversary card, yes,
Yeah.
like is, and a Google Calendar, frankly. Like, is all
Yeah.
of that stuff on your calendar? Do you wake up every day and know who you should be reaching out to? That's all you need. Other agents do thrive in a more like AI kind of driven platform that's writing, kind of text messages for them and drafting emails and pinging them at like high inclination points where people might need to hear from them. That's amazing. If you have found that for yourself, that's great. But like honestly, I just feel like simple is better. The other tools in our tech stack, we recently introduced StackWrap in our office, which is a nice single sign-on tool. I love it. And then I think that, it's important to have a nice secure email. We use G Spaces. I think that's a really important, vital tool for real estate agents. And your phone, just get on it. Just like make your calls, send some texts, and like there's so many different ways to do that and to put that habit back into your day. Like I've told my agents, like just play text roulette today. Take 15 minutes, pull up your text and just spin. Stop. Whoever it stops on, you have to text them right now, even if it's been a year since you texted them. And they're like, oh my God, what would I say? Just say you popped into my head and I wanted to say hi. That's it.
Yeah.
And that like
Yep.
reintroduces that conversation. So it
Yeah.
doesn't, don't overcomplicate it, right?
Exactly. I think that's one thing that I did for a while is I got overcomplicated, right? Adding too many tools and resources and everything else. Then yeah, I think the one thing that people miss out on is all the tools and resources work because they're proven usually. The issue is you have too many of them, you have too many things to learn, and you're just not focused on your client. So you're getting paralysis analysis, and then you're like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do now? And what we've done recently over the last year is we've cut out. I mean, we had huge CRM expenses at our brokerage. We went down to a very simple linear platform what you just talked about. We have, it allows agents to get notifications on birthdays and anniversary of their sales and any other notes they have. Our CRM is built right into our transaction management system. So everything is on one platform. It's very linear. It's very simple. And that's been the huge driver. We've doubled our production from last year to this year already. And we've had as much commissionable volume since in 2025. We have as much now in 2026 already. Our numbers from last year just by doing less, which is crazy, right?
No, congratulations. And like, that's exactly the point. I will say one more thing that I've like integrated into our leadership team's world, especially when you're focused on growing. So from a team lead or a brokerage lead perspective is Courted.io. Courted is a really, really great tool for retention as well as recruiting. And that's something I couldn't give up now.
I love it. I love it. So I'm a big book person. I heard you are too. So what's the one book that you would hand every agent right now and why?
Okay, I have three. So I've always recommended Ninja Selling. I think that book is priceless, whether you're starting out in real estate or looking for a refresh, looking to get back to those basics, like just read Ninja Selling or listen to it again. Miracle Morning for Real Estate Agents is a book that I always recommend to anyone who even reaches out for an interview with us. I think like having some kind of time management when you're an independent salesperson is just vital. And it changed my life 25 years ago, and I never looked back. I still get up at 4 a.m. I still get my work in at 6. I still don't look at my phone until after I'm done with that workout. Like there are so many things like entrenched in that philosophy and that book specifically that I think is so useful. You can read it in an hour. It's like an easy one. And then my last one is a little bit newer to me. So yeah, Unreasonable Hospitality. Yeah, I love that book. I got to hear the author speak at a conference last year, and then I went back and read it again. And I pull from it all the time. I find myself quoting it all the time. So I just think it's a way to set yourself apart as an agent and like under promise, over deliver, make a transaction special, make a day like unforgettable, and like earn those referrals.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the goal, right? I mean, that's how you build a business is, one referral should lead, or one sale should lead to 4 or 5 sales,
Yeah,
so 4 or
sure.
5 other transactions. So I totally get it. So, all right, as we wrap up here, and again, the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast, and why, like, if somebody's out there struggling right now, and maybe we already hit this, button, but what's the one piece of advice, one mindset shift that agent should make right now?
Recommit to the business. So if it's been a while since you did an open house, or you sat floor duty if you have that available to you, or if you just, go to any store and buy a pack of cards and send them all. Like, the energy you put into that puts energy into your business. You might not see a direct ROI today or even in the next month, but just like reintroducing yourselves to the things that you already know that you should be doing is what's going to plant the seeds for this, winter's harvest. And I think that, like, also, like, it's mid-year. This is the perfect time to look at your goals that you set in January. If you haven't pulled that business plan back out and assessed, like, okay, where am I at and where did I want to be? Do I need to reset my goals? Was I maybe like a little overreaching? Was I a little bit ridiculous when I, considered how much time I actually have to put into my business, how I'm going to spend that time, and what is going to be the result of that time spent in the business? Like, just reassess. It's okay to reset, and then set some goals for the end of the year. I think it's a great time to do that.
I love it. So let's pitch yours a little bit. Tell us about your podcast, your best friends in business. What's this all about?
Yeah, so it's a podcast that my partner, Maddie, and I started. We're just wrapped season 1. I think episode 4 actually comes out tomorrow, wherever you get podcasts. It's called Your Best Friends in Business. We interview company founders, both in the real estate industry and not. So we have like 10 amazing stories that we're telling in season 1. Everyone from like pet food founder who appeared on Shark Tank, a James Beard award-winning restaurateur, Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the book that a lot of agents are familiar with, and I always recommend this too, Profit First. So It's a wide range. I think it's a fun listen, and I'd love for everyone to go follow. That would be amazing.
I love it. So where can people find you and the show?
Yeah, so Your Best Friends in Business, literally anywhere you get podcasts, as well as YouTube. And then I'm really easy to find online. I run my own Instagram. It's at Stacie Staub. If you want to check out the brand, that's at Weston Main Homes on Instagram. So would love for you to reach out in either of those places, and you'll connect directly with me. If there's anything that I can help with or be a resource, I love to do things like that, especially for people who are, struggling with running an independent brokerage. Like, that's kind of my heart.
I love it. And the links will all be in the show notes, of course. So, Stacie, thank you so much for coming out. Guys, if this was a hit, share it with somebody who needs it. New episodes every single week. I'm Monte Reyment, and this is the Why Do I as a Real Estate Agent podcast. Thank you again, Stacie, for coming on.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap here on the Why Do I Suck as a Real Estate Agent podcast. Thank you so much for spending time with me and our guests. The people you hear on the show really aren't guessing. They've been doing the work. They've been doing it for a long time. They're sharing their behaviors, their habits, their successes, their systems that actually lead to real work, real success. So please subscribe and follow so you don't miss the next conversation. Until next time, remember, you don't suck. You're learning. It's the beginning, or maybe you're in a rut, but you don't suck. So make a few changes, stay curious, stay consistent, and please keep coming back.